Well, hey everybody, today we're going to talk about how do you cut weight in your pack today. Well, welcome to my channel. My name is Andy and this channel is all about backpacking, outdoor adventures, and gear. Most definitely gear. So if you happen to like those things too, go ahead and subscribe and you'll be alerted every time I post new content. And there is a lot of new content coming. So sit back, relax, let's dive right in. Well, the first thing that you can do to cut weight today is to weigh your stuff. So get a scale or at least look up on the manufacturer's website what each item that you own actually weighs. And then put together a list, either a spreadsheet, use the database, write it down. So have an inventory of everything that you own and what it actually weighs. So when you go to your trips and you plan and you start to lay out the things that you have, put that weight inventory with it and you'll see exactly what you're bringing and exactly what the weight penalty is. And every time you plan a trip, you go back and forth. Do I really want to add that much weight? Do I really need this? How can I save some weight? So knowing what your stuff weighs is the first step in how to cut out stuff that you just don't need. The second thing that you can do is ditch your dry sacks. I know that may sound a little counterintuitive to some, but if you have organizational systems that include dry sacks in your backpack, each one of those dry sacks is going to have some kind of a weight penalty to it. So one thing that's really simple is to go to a trash compactor bag or even a Nilo Flume pack liner, which can save you quite a bit of weight versus multiple dry sacks inside your bags. The third thing that you can do is repackage items. So there's going to be certain items that you bring that are going to come in larger containers than what you actually need for that weekend. So, the clear examples is batteries. You go and buy, a headlamp and you've got AAA batteries and it comes in a 4-pack or an 8-pack. You don't need all of them, so you kind of repackage. You take 2 out, you throw them in as backup batteries. Well, do that same methodology for all your other items. You've got sunscreen, you've got DEET, you've got hand sanitizer potentially, you've got maybe even dish soap, a whole range of different things. But you don't need that much of any of those things. So can you go from even a small travel size bottle of sunscreen or even toothpaste and bring a smaller portion? You have 10 or 12 different items that you can repackage down to much smaller form factors. That's going to save you weight. The fourth thing that you can look to do to cut weight today is to use either lighter weight and also collapsible water storage containers. So, we all kind of start off with, the big water bottles, whether it's a Camelback or a Nalgene or whatnot. And then you might go to, a bladder. Some of those can be real thick and heavy too. So going to lighter weight, something like a Smart Water bottle, or collapsible also, like some of the lighter weight bladders, or even if you move to something like an Evernew bottle, things that come with like the Sawyer Squeeze, or if you upgrade even to the Canuck bags that again allow you to store and carry quite a bit of water if you need to. But if you're not using them, you can roll those up. The form factor is tiny, and you're talking about an ounce or 2 weight penalty, and you can throw those in your pack. So something like that, over carrying multiple Nalgenes or heavy bladders or other options, can really add up over time. Now, the second part of that also is to be very smart about how much water you're carrying. So if you look at your trip and you say, I'm doing a backpacking trip and it's going to cover 15 miles. Well, how many water stops are there along that way? Are they every mile? Are they every 3 miles? Are they every 5 miles? So know that, map that out, and when you take your breaks, coordinate those breaks at water stops. So hike to the next stop, take your break at the water stop, drink as much water as you need at that water stop, fill up just enough to get you to the next one, maybe a little extra. But there's no need to, hike with 6 liters of water because you want enough to carry it for the whole loop. You just need to get you to the next stretch. And if you stop and you drink the water at your water stop, that's a lot less water that you're going to be carrying as a weight penalty. So think about that the next time you're out. Now, one of the big ones for me is the next one, and that's reduce the amount of clothing that you take. And that's a tough one for a lot of folks, because when you go out, initially, I think we all think about, well, I want to be, covered in every different condition. Is it going to be rainy? Is it going to be, sunny and hot? Is it going to be cold? All the different situations that you may encounter, you want to cover all of those. Well, I encourage you to kind of fight against some of that, to take a different set for each one of those conditions, and look at putting together a modular system of clothing. So can you have a lightweight breathable top? Can you have a longer sleeve shirt that maybe can go over that? Can you have maybe a fleece or a puffy jacket that maybe can be that next layer? And can you have a rain jacket that goes over that? I remember the first trip I took a big winter coat, and I had all these different layers in addition. Well, I could have used my raincoat, which was a much lighter outer shell, and then use my puffy coat and other things, and it would have saved me a ton of weight. The other part of that, though, too, is if you're going on a 3-day backpacking trip, maybe on a weekend, do you really need 3 days worth of clothing? I'd argue that you don't. You probably need one outfit that you're going to do most of your hiking in, and you might need a backup. Either something that you're going to sleep in, or something that if you get soaked, you can put on dry clothes while the first set dries out. Where you're going to need your extras, that's going to be your socks, and that's going to be your undergarments. So underwear, that sort of thing. Those you might have 2 or 3, even for a 2 or 3 day hike potentially. Remember those first few trips where there might be longer trips, it might be a 5 or 6 day trip, and people were talking about bringing 5 to 6 days worth of clothing. And you learn real fast that you just don't wear that much. If I had 4 days worth of clothing, I probably wore two outfits. And if you have one and a backup, it's real easy, even if you get one wet, or if it just gets muddy, to switch into your clean, dry ones and wash. As you do those water crossings, can you stop, rinse out your clothes? Hopefully it's lighter weight, synthetic type of materials or wool, where you can rinse it out, wring it out, hang it on your pack, let it dry while you hike, or hang it up when you get to camp with some extra cordage that you've got to allow that stuff to dry out. So if you can save on the number of items that you have to bring in packed clothing, you're going to save quite a bit of pounds. The next suggestion I have is share the load. Are you going with another person or maybe a group? And if you are, take advantage of that and coordinate with the rest of the people in the group. How much sunscreen do you really need? How much bug spray do you really need? Every item that you're going to need for cooking, go through those as a group and figure out how much you need and share that weight. So maybe you've got one person that's got a big enough tube of sunscreen that can go for everybody. Well, great, then nobody else has to carry that. So if you do that with each and every item, you might not have everybody in the group carry a first aid kit, even a personal one. It may be something that there's one that's a little bit larger that person's going to carry your first aid kit. One's going to carry the utility. One might carry the fire kit. So if you have that mentality of coordinating, again, you can share the load and save weight. And the last tip for today is one that has become very valuable to me, and that is after your trip. So when you're done with your trip and you get back, go through all the items that you brought on that trip and look at them and say, which did I not use? And record that. So if you had 20 items that you brought, I want to record which 3 or 4 did I not use during that trip. And then the next trip that I go on, if those same 3 or 4 items show up again on that list of things that I didn't use, and after 2 or 3 or 4 times where I go on these types of outings and I'm not using the same things over and over, those things are gone. They're out of your pack, they're out of your system for that environment. Don't bring things that you're not going to use. And the only way that you'll know is to record the things when you get home of what items did you not even touch the entire time you were out. So those are some easy suggestions of what you can do today to cut weight in your pack. If you cut weight in your pack, you'll have a lighter load, you will have a much more comfortable trip, and you will be much more likely to want to go back out and do it again. So do yourself a favor, find the little ways that you can cut weight. Give yourself a more enjoyable experience, especially if you're newer at this. The thing that breaks my heart is to see people go out over-prepared or incorrectly packed, and they're carrying so much weight that they're miserable and they don't want to do it again. So don't make the same mistakes that I did and cut the weight that you can early. Go out, have a much more enjoyable hike. So thanks so much. If this has been at all helpful to you, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I appreciate all of that, and we'll see you guys next time. Be well.